Yeah, like we said, you guys seem very sorted. We like the process for sure. Like how you seem very process oriented. I just wish you had been there 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, Webflow is pretty famous, right? But I mean, in my experience, handing over a website to a client, right? It usually they, especially in a business that's as changing and as evolving as like this one, there needed to be a way that we would be able to update content every day, every 2 days, like things like that. We have new beers coming out very often, new events very often, so we need to be able to do that ourselves without depending on somebody else to update this kind of content, put up new pictures. Yeah, so Webflow seemed like the it made sense for us to be able to do that. I think I already have recommend.
Yeah, we're sending some referrals your way. Overall, I think there's competency-wise and there's relationship-wise. Both went exceedingly well in my opinion. Competency-wise, I think you guys, since we knew what Webflow could do, but maybe not the intricacies of it. I think your team brought in some of that, gave us some understanding of what could be done. So while we may have had a 20% understanding, that the rest of it came in from your team saying, hey, we can explore this, or we understand this is what you want to do, so we can do it this way. So that it was a two-way relationship, which went great. And I think relationship-wise, like I said, you seem to have different roles very geared towards different parts of the relationship, which I think will help. So here, I think the advantage is that we're a very small team internally, but both of us have worked independently on website projects before. We understand what the pain points could be from an agency perspective, and we tried our best to kind of, she put together this huge document that would address each expectation, that covered, what progress had been made. And your team responded to that instead of typically what would happen in a learning curve in terms of how we work. So I think from both those perspectives, definitely would recommend you guys to other people.
I've put so much work into this website and I just need someone to develop it. But I know that I can't trust somebody to get what my vision is and make it look and work exactly the same as I have designed it. But that is the problem you solve. You have said what you've done, exactly what you've done on Figma, I put it on Webflow, and that you solve that connection that was always missing.
I think overall, we went into this, at Geist, we went into this project with some hesitation because we knew there was a timeline and a budget that we had to stick to. This was a new partner we were working with. We didn't know what would come of it. But I think at the end of it, everything fell into place. But, that's because of the effort that was made on both sides of the table, which I'm very appreciative of. I think as a team, we are very appreciative of. So all in all, great. There's definitely more work that we want to do, hopefully together. So now that we have finished this one part, there will be further conversations about what we can do.
Yeah, I really liked the weekly summary emails that you guys sent also. Like it really helped us as a team. Whenever we also have a weekly call, right, an internal call, and then we were able to provide that update to the larger guys team, and when they would ask us how's the website going, and we had that answer because you had sent us the recap. So that was one thing that really stood out about your process.
I think it was just the thrill of seeing it all kind of come to life. There was no friction. You all stepped in when we needed you all to, and you delivered. So overall, I think you can't isolate one part. I think it required many moving parts, which that was what we were hesitant about because we knew that's what we were getting into. But you kind of joined the party at the right time. And you helped us deliver to our team. So, and I think the other thing I wanted to point out was There was a point where, I think I asked for some help with MailChimp or something like that, and you all were very clear, came back to me very quickly saying, hey, this is not an area we are experts in. Very refreshing, very positive to hear that you clearly know where your capabilities and your specialty lies, and that's great. It's nice to hear that. And one of the biggest drivers of why we needed to change, we had a website. It was a WordPress-based thing, ancient, and
Very difficult.
difficult to work with. And honestly, I had worked on that website 5 years ago. That's the reason why I started working with this company. And so we knew that we needed to change it. And the biggest driver was, since as a brand, our beer is available in multiple locations, not just in Bangalore now, but in Hyderabad as well. People were not able to figure out where the beer was available, right? Just that simple.
Not everyone has Instagram to come and see on
where is it available. So we're able to solve that right now because we just point them to the website and say everything is located here. We've got a lot of feedback from different age groups, right from I think the biggest joy that people had was they knew how passionate we are as a team about design, and it was seamless. They could see Geist in the website. And we know the heartache of when you design something and it's not, it doesn't come out in development. We didn't have to go through that heartache at all with them. They were able to see it was a natural extension of brand Geist.
And especially trying to explain a design decision that you've taken to a team that doesn't know design.
Yeah.
And we felt like the entire thing was very seamless. People kind of looked at the website and understood what we were trying to do with it, understood why we made certain changes. My experience, what I've realized with clients when I've been on the agency side, and when you expect something from them, they freak out a little bit. It's because they're not used to that. They're used to they expecting you to do the work. So I feel that this is the correct way to do it, where you have a give and take on both sides. And like we said, we really appreciated that you also had that boundary.
We were actually pleasantly surprised by the way things went because of the situation that we came to you in. We had been abandoned by the team that was working on this previously for various reasons. And I think for us, one of the concerns was our design language is very strong. It's something we're very passionate about as an organization and a brand. And we wanted to work with somebody at that point who would not fight us on that, but actually help us meet our deadline, which is exactly what you guys did. Overall, I think it went really great.
After having worked with you guys for a week or two, then we kind of understood that, okay, we can bring a little bit of the design flavor back into the look and feel of the site as well. I think it was really refreshing for me personally as a designer, and having worked with previous developers. It's usually the vision that you have and what actually comes on the screen doesn't match, and you kind of spot a few issues here and there in terms of just alignment and sizing and things like that, and then you kind of think okay, are they not seeing what I've designed, and how is that not looking the same as what has been developed? But in that sense, I think you have really exceeded my expectations. What we wanted was someone who would really get it, who would really understand what we needed the site to do. In our case, it needed to really work in terms of information and education. The customer really needed to be able to find what they needed from our site. And I think with the CMS especially, you understood what we needed and delivered that, and did that without compromising on any design or responsiveness or anything like that.
I think our primary concern at that point was the timeline. We had committed to something internally, and we wanted to stick to it as our mini team within the TR, right? Sometimes it's easy to blame a team that's not worked out, but ultimately your objective is to finish your project. And so, yes, of course, the plan was always to find an agency or individual developer. We did try that route as well in between before we found you. But I think one of the flavors that your team brought to the table was you had separate roles for separate things. There was somebody who was looking at a project from a timeline and kind of scope basis. And obviously you had your development team who was working on the actual project itself. Personally, for me, what was refreshing was we didn't feel like we were talking to two different teams, which often happens with an agency. You guys seem to be pretty in sync with yourself. We didn't have to double brief, which often happens.
And that was one of the major concerns.
So I think you were very much in sync internally, and that reflected in your engagement with us. It made things a lot more seamless on our end.
Got a good feeling also after speaking to you and your team for the first time. And I think we felt a little reassured at that moment.
I think for me, when you sent across the scope document, I really liked the way you wrote out your terms and conditions, which typically is not endless pages of and like language you don't really understand sometimes. There was an element of what there is a glimpse of what you were looking for out of this that came through. That personality came through in an otherwise very dry section of a scope document. So I think that at least gave me some confidence, and she had confidence, and I have confidence in her, and so it worked out.
Yeah, I have also done freelance before, and I used to also send like a document like that with like, this is what we are expecting from you. I know you are expecting this much from us, but on the other side, we also expect. I mean, we really appreciated it because we knew that you were. It showed us that you were very serious about the work that you're doing.